Welcome and back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are chatting Marvel Crisis Protocol once more because it is one of my absolutely favorite games in the entire world. Such an awesome miniatures game. We have heard some wicked sick announcements coming out, I think, Thursday last week. So today is the 29th. I think it was on the 27th that we got announced Ant-Man and the Wasp. But not just announced, they were obviously announced previously, but actually spoiled as well. So I'm going to do a quick run through of what these characters are, how good they are, maybe their upsides, downsides, and just kind of check it out, see how they're going to fit into your crew. So first up, we've got the Ant-Man. This is the Avengers affiliation here. So if you do play him in the Avengers with Captain America, they will get that benefit. Not really quite strong on Ant-Man. He has actually a lot of one power abilities and things like that. So not crazy cool, unfortunately, with that affiliation. But let's jump into what this character can do. He's a 3-threat character, which if you kind of see, I've got a tier list coming up very shortly. I think probably not quite fits the bill. Probably should be a 2-threat character based on what I'm going to go through. Average defense, 3 physical, 3 mystique, pretty solid. 2 energy does make it a little bit weaker, but he's going to be surprisingly tanky because of a couple other abilities that we'll kind of jump into in a moment. Movement medium, I'm surprised. He's got height 2, but in short form on the right, you can see him height 1, but he gets small movement when he's in his tiny form. So look, that's definitely a weak point towards him, but he has this ability, Hitch a Ride, where he can actually move himself when he's in small form. So definitely a huge upside getting a free movement on his turn, but small still a pretty huge downside. But look, we'll jump into his attacks very quickly. You've got your typical cantrip style attack that gets you power when you do attack. There's an interesting part about Ant-Man and the Wasp is that they have, when they attack, they may transform into their tiny or large form and then get kind of a weird little bonus or downside depending on the thing. I'll go through that with the Wasp as well, which is really cool. But look, 4 attacks, pretty average, range 2, pretty average here, definitely on the lower tier side of attacks. When they do attack, you can turn into tiny, and when they do turn into tiny, they drop all their objective tokens before transforming. Now that follows all rules when dropping objectives. Your opponent gets to move it within range 2 of the character. Definitely sounds bad when you first think about it, but I actually believe can be incredibly powerful, which I'll go through in a moment as well. This is the first time we've really had a character that can just willy-nilly drop objectives when they want. So think about kind of like smashing and grabbing, right? Like you send Ant-Man forward, sprints forward, gets a hitch a ride, gets to move free, pick up objectives, uses some further abilities, I'll explain, stealth and tiny superhero to survive a little bit longer, and then bail out as fast as possible, change into the tiny form, drop an objective for one of your bigger, tougher characters to pick up and secure for a longer period of time. So pretty interesting strategy here. I think it's going to be a very high skill cap strategy, but really interesting. I'll kind of go through a bit of that in a moment. Look, then you have Bullet Amp Barrage, again, when you're in your large form. 4 power, this is the only really big power move that Ant-Man has. It's the only thing that really generates cost power, which is actually pretty good when you think about it, because it means he's going to be doing a lot of his abilities pretty consistently, and when he's got that excess, he can just give you a big punch as well. Beam 3 definitely can hit multiple players as well, so definitely pretty solid on that one. If this attack deals damage, you gave your opponents the poison and stun special condition. Stun means you can't get any power greater than 1 in a situation where you would gain more, so from damage and such. Not confident on the poison ability though. But I can double check this for us in just a moment. But still a really strong attack. Being able to hit multiple people at once is always really huge. Getting off, a bunch of attacks. They lose 1 power during the power phase instead of gaining 1 power. So that's absolutely huge. You can definitely stop some people getting a lot of power. Obviously the poison and stun, pretty cool on that one. You've got then for 1 power, you just change size. Pretty simple. You change into tiny form. You drop your objectives if that happens. You got pin particle control. When you're targeted, you can switch into tiny form. So look, that's just kind of what it is. Whenever you kind of want, you can just change into your tiny form reactively, actively, drop your objectives if need be. Now that's all these large side things on my left. And if you jump to the other side, you have then a couple other options. Ant-sized uppercut, range 1, so very tiny range. Really going to be up in front, but 6 attacks. Pretty solid, pretty good. After that, you must transform into normal Ant-Man. On the other side, Pin Particle Punch, it says you may transform. When you look at Ant-sized uppercut, it must transform. So take that one with a very interesting grain of salt. Again, chain size, spends a power, turns into normal mode, pretty simple. Hitch or Ride is really where Ant-Man kind of excels. Having the ability to try and place his character within range 3, so when you're tiny, you get a free movement on top of everything else that you're doing. On top of your small movements, on top of your attacks, you just get a free movement once a turn, which is pretty cool, very, very powerful. I'm going to move my webcam. Oh, can I? No, apparently not. Oh, there it is. It's just a little bit laggy. All right, we're going to undo some of that. But you can see here, we've got stealth, characters within range 3. You must be within range 3 of this character to target it with an attack. So that means you can't get some long-range barrages from like kind of your Star-Lord and things like that. You don't get your really long free attacks. You have to be within range 3. We've seen stealth a couple times, so not too much there, but still pretty good on a tiny character. But the tiny superhero ability, this says you can reroll any number of defense or dodge dice, which I think is absolutely huge. You cannot hold objectives, unfortunately, so that's a pretty huge downside. But being able to reroll any of your defense or dodge dice, that's huge. Rerolling isn't something that's very, very prevalent in this game, but it's definitely very, very powerful in this game. So that's Ant-Man. Again, in my opinion, not being able to take objectives very consistently, a little bit excessively tanky, surprisingly so. Bit of free movement, which is cool. And I think hitching a ride into an ant-sized uppercut or something like that's definitely going to be the play for him. And look, that pushes him definitely into a 3-threat over a 2-threat character. But I still think it's a 2.5 threat character, if that makes sense. So strong, but definitely not crazy, ridiculous strong. On the flip side of this, Wasp, in my opinion, is crazy. Being a 3-threat character is absolutely bonkers. I think definitely probably a 3-threat character, but again, this is why I kind of expect Ant-Man to be a 2-threat character. So again, we'll go through a couple of things. Same defense as Ant-Man, same health, same threat, same super contribution. The difference is medium movement when in large form, when in normal form, but in tiny form, the Wasp gets large movement. Now, you don't get your free movement from Hitch a Ride, so look, that's pretty relevant, but having a long movement is huge. Being able to move is so much of the board. But so yeah, long movement to me is always that's almost worth a threat in itself. It's just such a crazy, awesome ability. But we're going into attacks. 5 attacks, already better than Ant-Man for your kind of your generating. Standard thing, deal damage, get some power, transform into tiny if you so choose. Then you have your change size. Again, that's the exact same. You can change size if you really want. We have PIM discs instead of kind of if we jump over here, instead of the bullet Amp Barrage, we have PIM discs. Choose an interactive feature of size 3 or less and throw it. I think that's very powerful because where bullet Amp Barrage gives you a bunch of special conditions, it's 7 dice. It's pretty huge, I'm not going to lie. This just says, 3 power, point at something. It's only range 2. So you have to be quite close to objectives, but you just throw it at them. You can potentially throw 4 hits at them. So you, 3 power, 4 hits, go. Roll your defense dice, So in my mind, throwing things is just so powerful. Free hits are free hits. It's crazy. Pin particle control, again, that's your reactive. I change it to a smaller person. Pretty cool. You also have flight for the Wasp. Ant-Man doesn't have flight. So that's pretty relevant. Please do keep that in mind. Cool. When you jump into the smaller side here, this is where you get the 2 attacks. Energy attacks, in my opinion, are almost more powerful than physical attacks because I think overall the energy defense across the board is lower on most people than the physical defense. I think people have 3, if not 4 physical defense almost all the time, whereas energy, they'll have 2, maybe 3, and a very few couple is 4. I think Hela and Thor are kind of the big ones in my mind that have 4 energy defense. So energy attacks, in my opinion, are generally better than physical attacks. Look, you've got a cantrip on that. After this attack is resolved, you gain power, pretty good. The target does not gain power for damage dealt on Stinger Blast, though. So 5 dice, range 2, they don't get power. That's huge. Attacking someone like a Venom, like a Hulk who only have 2 energy defense, even if they roll well and defend a chunk of it, or roll poorly and don't take it, they can't really swing back at you. In particular, Venom always doing, so many snacks. Just gets to, you punch him and he says, cool, I'm going to punch you back and heal up a bunch of health. He doesn't get to do that against this stuff, which I think is just so powerful and makes Wasp so strong in tiny form. Also, range 2 as opposed to the range 1 of ant-sized uppercut from Ant-Man. Just I think, in my opinion, just so much stronger. Like 5 dice versus 6, so you lose a dice for an extra range, and they don't gain power from the attack. It's so strong, in my opinion. And then here's the kicker. Ant-Man gets to move for free. Yes, reasonable. But Wasp's Fury, range 3, after it's attacked, you can resolve you can advance medium. So you don't have to, but you can just advance medium. You don't have to deal damage. You just have to resolve the attack, and you get to move mediums. That's like a free movement anyway. So I think that's absolutely huge. That definitely potentially makes up for the free movement of Ant-Man. It does cost 2 power, but I don't think that's much when your other attacks are 0 and 0. You know, I think that's completely fine. Being able to like, and you can transform into normal. So being able to like kind of transform into small or something, punch them with Wasp's Fury, advance medium to make into normal, take an objective, even like moving past them into an objective behind them or something like that. You know, move, change, punch, advance, take the objective. I think that's like, there's so much awesome stuff you can do with Wasp, and I definitely think she's probably going to end up in a couple of my teams, particularly at 3 threat. I think she's awesome. Similar thing, change size, you transform into normal, you can take objectives suddenly. It drops all objectives and transforms to normal. That's strange because normally you can't actually hold objectives when you're tiny anyway. So I think they're just clarifying probably a couple of words in that, but that's redundant. Tiny superhero, again, really strong, plus the stealth characteristic, so you have to attack within range 3, and you get to reroll all your defense and dodge dice. So, look, that's what we saw. That's the spoilers coming through. I think Wasp is really strong, really powerful. We'll see her in quite a number of lists. I definitely think she's probably an A tier. I think I put her in my list, whereas Ant-Man dropped down to kind of a B or a C tier. I think at 3 threat, she's crazy. She's definitely competing with kind of your Valkyries and things like that, so that's definitely a hard slot to try and fill in, particularly because Valkyrie's the Asgardian. But I still think the movement that you have on the board, the free advances, the stopping them from getting energy when punching them, I think that's all really huge. And again, could be surprisingly tanky with that stealth and tiny superhero. Keep in mind, if people attack you, you can change size, drop into tiny, so even worst case scenario, you've got an objective on you or whatever it is, but they're going to try and kill you. You can say, cool, going to turn it to tiny. You're actually outside of range 3, you're range 4, so you don't get to attack me at all. Or alternatively, you get to reroll all of your defense dice. Absolutely huge. So look, that's really cool. I've got one last thing that I definitely want to kind of show people here. This is actually our website, and I haven't gone through this with people just yet, but this is the General Games website, generalgames.com.au. It's where all of our products are up for pre-order. We've got the new things in the future, such as Kingpin. We had... what else have we got? We've got the Ghost Riders up there, Kingpin, Punisher, and Taskmaster are up there as well. So all the pre-orders, we run about 20% plus below RRP when it comes to pre-orders. Kingpin has been 38, normally around the 55 mark, I think, something along those lines, or 50 mark. So we work really hard to try and make sure that you guys get the cheapest prices. We ship all around Australia, so we're Victoria based, but we do ship all around Australia. We have things normally on release when it comes into Australia. All the X-Men coming through, so you can order that there. On top of that, we do have all the regular Crisis Protocol stuff. I mean, Venom's unfortunately sold out at the moment, but you've got Ghost Spider coming in next week. You've got, this is all the new stuff coming out in a little bit. Green Goblin's coming out in a week or so. But all the current things like Hulk, M.o.d.o.k, Rocket and Groot, all this stuff is available, still cheaper than RRP. Normally these things are like $80 plus, and we're doing it for 68. So again, working on almost 20% off RRP here. So if you feel the need to pre-order that stuff, please jump on generalgames.com.au. Look, that's all from me. I've got a couple videos coming out in the next couple of days, including tier lists. We've got another video with Bill that we're doing. We're doing a slightly different battle report this time, trying to cut and chop it and make it a little bit faster for you guys. I think I dropped it down to about 40 minutes, down from an hour and a half. So please check that out. Give it a thumbs up. Comment below. Tell me what you think about Ant-Man and the Wasp. Tell me what your favorite character is. I always love hearing it. Always keen for a chat. Spread out the words of that. Would really appreciate it. But I'm going to throw you onto Ali, and she's going to tell you how you can check out all the rest of our social medias from Facebook and Instagram and things like that. But here from Victoria, down in lockdown, please stay safe. Please stay healthy out there. Call up your family. Call up your friends. Make sure everyone is all right. But I love you all. You enjoy this game. You have yourself a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Hey guys, it's Ellie. If you like that video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more interesting content. You can also follow us on Facebook for more information and events. Likewise, follow us on Instagram for those behind the scene photos and videos. Thank you.